All right, so my name is Kyle Wilson. I'm with CRNA Locum Jobs. I'm also CRNA, and I hear that y'all are both students at Webster University, correct?
Correct.
That's
Yes.
correct, yeah.
What year y'all in?
We are both second years.
Both second year, so
Yeah.
really into your DNP projects right now, just
Yep.
grinding.
Correct. Yep.
All right,
Absolutely.
and so that's kind of what we're going to discuss today is y'all's DNP projects. Kind of tell me what y'all's DNP projects is and what y'all's mission is.
Sure. So, in partnership with Dr. Burns and Webster University, who over the past 4 years has established a foundation and educational research site for our nurse anesthesia program in the country of Cameroon, Africa, we localized a major need in their operating rooms in that we found that anesthesia providers in Cameroon lack even the most basic tools that are crucial for difficult airway situations. More specifically, many, if not most, of the anesthesia providers in these lower income settings have little to no experience with video laryngoscopies. And to address this, our team has designed, printed, and have begun clinically implementing 3D printed video laryngoscope blades that we have threaded a removable video scope, which is compatible to any smartphone or tablet, all of which allows the providers in Cameroon to have video capabilities for the first time for their intubations. So for our mission for this project, it is to revolutionize and transform anesthesia care on a global scale and to create self-sustainability for these underserved regions.
I mean, that sounds awesome. That's my question now is how did y'all come up with this? Where did y'all get this idea from?
Sure. Mr. Burns, if you'd like to take this away, you might want to spearhead this
Yeah.
question.
All right, thank you. So basically, it started basically 4 years ago. I had three Cameroon students in my class. One was a practicing CRNA in Cameroon prior to entering Western University's nurse anesthesia program. And when it came time for their DNAP project, they were like, well, we'd really like to do something for our home country. So we kind of brainstormed and we thought, what's the biggest issue in low to middle income countries? They have a education and resource gap, right? How can we close that? And so the first arm was through education. We thought, let's try to close this gap with trying to really address the very high maternal mortality rate in those type of countries and environments. So then as we went through 4 years of that, this year we had Cameroon 4.0 and 5.0. And 5.0 was the special part where we really started focusing on how can we close the resource gap. Instead of just bringing donations and bringing supraglottic airways or maybe bringing a glide scope that frankly when the battery and the electrical or whatever, any kind of issues, no one's going to really go and service the glide scope or McGrath in Cameroon. And so these guys came up with a great idea of let's see if we can 3D print some of this. And more importantly, can we make it sustainable for that environment? Can they obtain filament just like we can in the U.S.? Absolutely. Electrical cords that are compatible with cell phones, 100%. So we basically at that point, with a donation of a 3D printer to St. Louis University Institute in Cameroon, they now have capabilities of being sustainable. So we made a positive footprint. And really, that's been the basic mission from day one, is not only to close the educational and resource gap, but make sure it's sustainable, that it's something that's going to continue from year on and in years to come. So that's kind of in a nutshell of our mission of this project.
So do any of y'all have backgrounds with 3D printing, or is this just something that kind of popped up? Who was the one that kind of, came up with the idea of, hey, we can 3D print this item?
Yeah, so actually I was the one that had most of the 3D printing background there. In my time when I was at Creighton University at 2012 to 2016, I led a research group there making upper limb prosthetic devices that were 3D printed. Same kind of mission where we saw a lot of individuals with upper limb deformities who didn't have access to a prosthetic device due to the cost of it. We decided, 3D printing was coming to the market, and we designed it from the ground up and did all that. And then also did some 3D printing with a major company called Autodesk, where we used their Fusion 360 software, which is now known as Fusion. And then did some work with NASA with 3D printing as well too. So that's kind of my background with the 3D printing. So
I got you. So obviously it sounds very challenging. How did y'all come up with the design of the video laryngoscope? Did y'all kind of piggyback it off of what is already out there, or did you kind of want to do your own thing?
Yeah, I mean, the big part of our project is it compounds multiple open market systems and blades. So we've gotten kind of ideas and different research sites that kind of implemented open market blades that we could kind of piggyback off of and kind of use our design, but also make it our own way as well.
Yeah.
I gotcha. So tell me a little bit more about the design of it. How do you use it? Let's kind of just talk about how you use it and what makes it specifically unique.
Yeah, sure. I'll go and touch on that if that's okay with you guys. So the big thing is that this blade is 3D printed. So it was all 3D designed off of a computer, and then we 3D print them. It takes about an hour and a half to 3D print a single blade, which actually I brought one here to kind of show on camera. So this is the actual 3D printed blade itself. It's one single piece, and then the camera actually routes through the handle, and it attaches to the end there. It's housed in the inside like that. And then the end just plugs into kind of any iPhone, Android phone, tablet, anything that has a screen, and then can commit video there like that. And so it's just used just as a regular video laryngoscope. Just the fact that it's 3D printed, it's cost pennies on the dollar to actually print something like that, and it's reusable with serialization. And so we did some strength testing and serialization with that as well too, to kind of see how can we make it reusable and longevity as well for them.
Did y'all have any challenges with this as y'all were going through the process of, you know, getting it patented and designing and the sterilization process, and what kind of challenges did y'all have while y'all were making it?
Yeah, so that's a good question. A lot of the challenges revolved around the funding, stuff like that. So we were very lucky that we had some great sponsors, Overture and Protopas and EBOS, who sent us some filament dryers and a bunch of filament that we were able to do a lot of prototyping and testing with it. AJ and myself, we went through, I don't know, 40, 50 different design prototypes till, and that's all adjusting the camera angle or different aspects and features of the blade, different curvature of the blade to kind of get that optimized view, especially in those difficult intubations and stuff. So that was a big part of it as well too. And then the camera you see as well, you can get that camera on Amazon or any kind of your local online store stuff as well. But the ones that we sent to Cameroon specifically, we partnered up with a company over in China who actually made these cameras specifically for this blade that were just a little bit shorter and a little bit brighter light at the end of it. But we have access to be able to get multiple of those stuff. But besides that, the other challenges were just main was the funding part of it. We had 2 3D printers. One of them we gave to the Cameroon Institute, or the St. Louis Institute over in Cameroon. So now we're down to 1 3D printer, but we printed off close to 350 of those devices that we gave over to the Cameroon people as well. But yeah, that was kind of the main challenges with that. A lot of it just an idea came to mind, and we tried to recreate it in the modeling and then print it and see did it actually work or not. So it was a lot of print and testing.
So you said that Cameroon already has that y'all donated a 3D printer for them to use and the filament for them to use. I noticed you said it takes how long to make a blade?
It takes about an hour and a half to make a blade.
Okay, and then how much filament does it normally take for you to make one blade? Like how much could they make in a day if they needed?
Yeah, great question. So when we sent the printer down to Cameroon, we had a file card for them that they were able to print different amount of blades on the actual printer itself. So they can print anywhere from between 1 and 6 blades at a time. And that takes anywhere from an hour and a half to upwards to 12 hours, roughly speaking. We also have the filament down there. So a single spool of filament is 1 kilogram. And out of that, they can print about 32 blades off of that one spool. And that one spool can vary anywhere from about $17, $18 all the way up to about $40, just depending on what kind of company you go with and special parts of the filament of that. So
I got you. How do y'all plan to sustain Cameroon getting the filament? I know you said earlier that filament is easily ordered. Do they have the funds and everything to order the filament that they need?
I can take that question. Yeah, I think it's because purchasing kind of the commercial available video laryngoscopies, those are thousands of US dollars. They're really not attainable. But something for a reasonable price of $10 to $12 per video laryngoscopy, that's certainly very attainable by the Cameroonian hospital systems,
Awesome.
as well as individual CRNAs. And I really want to emphasize that these guys did a great job with not just the production and design, but also making sure that those individuals had the exact ordering information from the companies to make sure that they could obtain this raw product, if you will, and make it themselves in a very easy fashion, along with tech support. The type of printer that they have, we're able to visualize them printing and so forth from our university to give them some sort of backup or assistance if they were need that.
Awesome. And so obviously the big goal is to, spread to other areas outside Cameroon. What does the future look like for that?
Yeah, sure. So the biggest thing on our itinerary is enhancing our project's exposure and fundraising to potentially expand to these additional countries and around the globe in the effort to bridge the gap of anesthesia care. So for ongoing supports, we are in the process of creating educational modules and troubleshooting videos, as well as guidelines for these international providers to ensure that they can simply yet effectively and independently produce their own devices despite being over 6,000 miles away. The beautiful part about all of this is that we are able to host an open communication platform with these international providers and even send them any new designs or updates for our devices as well. So kind of more geared towards fundraising, but the more money we can raise, the more outreach we can have and more countries we can affect.
Right. Awesome.
And I think that the key is that with educational outreach, when we go to Cameroon, we don't really just bring 300 video laryngoscopies. We bring a difficult airway mannequin. We go over the difficult airway algorithm, mass ventilation, supraglottic airways. Then they actually get to practice with the video laryngoscopy that they're going to bring home with them. I'm really a firm believer that, we want the folks to have access to higher quality equipment, but they also have to have the training and education how to utilize it appropriately.
Right.
So part of the 2-week, trip that we're there, 1 week's in the hospital, really, educating right there, grassroots, as well as formal seminars where we had 281 nurse anesthetists from Cameroon attend over 4 days. So we really want to give them the products and help them make them in the future, but also be able to use them appropriately and safely.
Right. And I know that one of y'all said earlier that that the video can be displayed through an app, and you can use your tablet, you can use iPhones. So tell me a little bit about how y'all designed that and how y'all, went through the process of getting that completed, making an app and syncing it with the video laryngoscope.
Mark, would you like to explain this? Yep.
Yeah, I totally will. I'll take that one. It was actually really simple. So the company that made these cameras is really, when you plug these devices into your iPhone or Android phone or tablet, it automatically syncs up and it says, would you like to open this application? If you don't have it downloaded, it goes right to your Apple Store or your Google Play Store and download, and you can select to download that application. So anytime they plug it in there, it automatically pulls open that application. We didn't have to do anything with creating that app itself. That came just with the camera like that as well. And then we've tested out different cameras as well, and they all have the same kind of feature where you plug it in and it pulls open either your app if you have it downloaded or not. So it's actually a very simple process. So
awesome, good deal. Let me see what else I've got on here for you. I mean, it seems really cool to to use one. I've used video laryngoscopy, whenever I have a difficult intubation, a difficult airway, or a malampody class that I'm expecting difficult airway. Is it very similar to the ones that we use here in the U.S. compared to what they'll be using there?
Yeah, that's actually part of our research project, is comparing our device to commercially available devices like the McGrath or the GlideScope. Okay. And so far, it's pretty early on in our data right now, but right now people prefer our blade over the GlideScope, and it's really close compared to the McGrath device.
And then you said with the sterilization process, they go through the same sterilization process as anything else?
Mark, would you take this?
Yeah, I'll touch on that one. So that's something that AJ and I had a question about, is how can we sterilize this? Based off the CDC guidelines, it's a really simple process. It's just using hydrogen peroxide bath for about 30 minutes. And so AJ and I went through testings before we brought it to Cameroon. And it was a 30-minute bath, and actually the strength testing of the actual device itself stayed just completely fine. And they can use it multiple times, multiple sterilization as well. That was really simple. So they don't have to put in an autoclave or any big fancy equipment that we have over here in the United States. Something very simple as just hydrogen peroxide that they can just get off of a shelf and stuff. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that's an important part, is if you think about, can you reuse this device? Ultimately, if you had a perfect world, it'd be a single-use device, and we would collect them all and recycle that plastic into making more video laryngoscopies. But we're not quite there yet. That's our, Cameroon 6, 7, and 8 type projects. We're thinking about how can we recycle those products to make additional, newer video laryngoscopies. But certainly to have that access and sustainability, I think that's our future, is to be able to recycle that plastic after a few uses, or maybe one, depends on, their access to the raw products.
Awesome. Well, good deal. How are clinicals going for y'all so far? Have y'all started
We started our first clinical site, and right now I love it. Personally, I love it, but I'm not sure how Marc is, but it seems like he really likes it down in Rolla, Missouri. So
Yeah, it's been a really great experience just kind of getting into the ORs, learning everything from the didactics and actually being able to put it to use.
I got you. Are y'all both at the same clinical site, different clinical sites, or
we're
how
not.
is that?
So shout out. So I'm at Good Samaritan Hospital in Mount Vernon, Illinois, which they have been incredible. I love the staff there. The cases have been great. The providers have been great. Surgeons have been great. But Marc is currently at Rolla, Missouri, currently for him, and he's also with Dr. Burns there as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. So have you talked to any of the anesthesiologists or the CRNAs that you're with about y'all's product?
Absolutely. They love it. They are floored by it. They wish they could use it in practice right now, currently in the United States, which is awesome. But yeah, they have been very supportive.
I mean, that's awesome. Well, I think that's really all that I have for y'all today. Is there anything else y'all want to add? Any questions? Anything?
No, we will actually we accepted a booth in the AANA Annual Congress in Nashville, Tennessee this August. So
Okay.
we will definitely be there. So hopefully we see all the CRNAs watching this video and podcast right now, and hopefully we can get them to try our blades and get their thoughts and their opinions.
All right. Well, I'll be there. I'll stop by y'all's booth and introduce myself again and get to play with y'all's toy and see how it works, see how the video laryngoscope is, and just compare it to what I've already used. Other than that, I mean, I think you'll have a great idea. My project was nothing like this. It was just kind of, we found something and we're like, I guess we can go with it. Y'all's is much more interesting. I think y'all's will have a much greater impact than what mine did. So that's congrats to y'all. That's awesome. Not only improving, CRNAs, but improving healthcare in general, especially, in other countries. I just think it's awesome what y'all are doing.
We appreciate it. And then for any listeners as well, we did launch our own website for anybody that's interested in learning about our mission and our work, and that is globalblade3d.com. So anybody's interested in our mission as well and reading more about us, they can.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys. I'll see you all in Nashville.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you for having us.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Bye.